This is Karl Cartwright from Westone Laboratories. I'm here to introduce you to the new Westone Ambient series of in-ear monitors. It's a new universal fit product that comes in 3 varieties: a single driver, a dual driver, and a triple. And the unique thing about the Ambient series is that it was designed to let some of the outside world in. With typical in-ear monitors using balanced armature drivers, we're trying to give you as much ambient noise reduction as possible. In other words, we're trying to make the outside world quieter. With the Ambient series, over the years we've had many requests from musicians that wanted to hear a little bit more of what was going on around them, whether it be other musicians, the audience, the venue, what's going on the stage. And we created a product to help address that request with the Ambient series. It looks a lot like a regular universal Westone monitor, but the big difference is it has a damper or filter to the outside world. Now, in and of itself, to have some kind of a vent in an in-ear monitor is not a brand new thing, in that it has been done over the years by a couple of different people to try and let a little bit of the outside world in. But it's always caused a major problem, and that is loss of low frequency response. What we've developed is an in-ear monitor that lets the outside in at only a 12 dB reduction, but maintains the frequency response of the earpiece. So now you have your complete low end, just like you would with a fully occluding in-ear monitor, but you're able to hear more of the outside world. Where this becomes really important is musicians that need to interact with their audience, musicians that maybe need to talk with each other in between songs and things like that. They don't have to pull the earpiece out, because now instead of 25 more dB of reduction, we have 12 dB of reduction, so it makes it much easier to communicate. So it's a real exciting development, and the fact that you don't have to give up anything in frequency response makes it a really, really new, cool tool that you can use. There's a couple of different ways the Ambient monitor can be used. One is, of course, on stage by a musician. Sometimes when you're on stage, you want to be able to interact a little bit more with the audience, particularly if it's an intimate setting. And with in-ear monitors without the use of microphones to mic the audience and mix that back in, sometimes it can be difficult. And sometimes musicians find themselves in a venue where they don't really have enough options with the sound system that is there to have this huge amount of microphones feeding their in-ear mix. That's where Ambience comes into play, because now when the song is over and you're not getting your monitor mix through the speakers in the earpiece, you can directly communicate with the audience. You can hear both the applause when it's good and, as in my case, the hecklers when it's what it normally is, bad. Our ears essentially hear the loudest sound. So, as a musician, if you're on stage, and even if you had no earpieces in and you had a drum set behind you, some amplifiers and floor wedges, when the song is playing, because that's the loudest thing, that's what you hear. You hear it through both your monitor mix and through the ambience. So, you're getting a full monitor mix, which we all know is why we use in-ear monitors, because the mix can be so phenomenal. But as soon as the band stops, if the song is over and the sound volume on stage decreases, just like the volume in your earpieces decrease, the ambient port becomes your primary source of information. And that's what makes it so cool, in that you don't have to do anything for it to do its job. You put your monitor mix into your ears, you hear your monitor mix. When there is no monitor mix, you hear your ambient surroundings. Now, they are reduced by 12 dB because, after all, we do have to kind of give you a choice about how loud you're going to listen to things. And we felt it was really important to give you some attenuation so that if the stage is, let's say, 97 dB, you have the choice to listen at 10 dB quieter than that, so that you still have that option that you do with a fully occluding monitor to change the volume level and be a little bit more in control. Now, there are other applications where this thing works really well too. For instance, listening to music, let's say in an airport, when you're kind of a little bit nervous about missing your flight. Well, Depending on how loud you listen to your music, you'll either block out the outside world, or if you listen at a reduced volume, you'll still hear what's going on around you. You might, at the right volume, you'll be able to hear gate change announcements, things like that. If you're in the airplane, for instance, ordering a Coke, you don't have to take your earpiece out to get that done. You just have to turn your music down. So that's one of the cool things about this, is it doesn't require a bunch of outside equipment or gear to make this happen. It just works like our hearing works. We're going to hear the loudest sound.